We all know fried food is delicious, but we also know it's not very healthy. But now a new study has found that eating fried food might actually be killing us. So to break this down is registered dietitian Nishta Saxena with us in studio. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
Okay, do we have that right?
Which right?
Is it killing us?
Well, this study was very interesting because it really focused on research from the Women's Health Initiative. And it was a cohort study, which means they did a really big study and then they looked back in time to try to isolate some of these different factors. So technically, this study, for only the second study of its kind, showed that eating fried food, fried chicken and fish in particular, for postmenopausal women can actually increase your risk of death and of cardiovascular death.
So are we saying that there is a causal relationship between this?
It's a very important point. No. So when we look at cohort studies, what that really means is you're looking at associations. It doesn't mean that, fried food causes death. But, it is something that's interesting because it's the first time they isolated everything. They looked at all those other factors, being overweight, smoking, controlled for that. Fried food was still something that could increase your risk.
Look, I try to live my life as healthily as possible, but there's a zero chance whatsoever I'm giving up fried food completely. Zero chance.
Yeah.
When I have my cheat meal,
yeah,
I want to eat lots of deep fried stuff. So how can I don't know, make the best of that?
Well, one of the things you can do is make it at home, which is sort of an odd thing to say, that to tell people to fry food at home. So we do want fried foods to stay as a minimum, as a once in a while food, but using better quality oils like olive oil and actually doing the frying at home. Part of the problem we saw with chicken and fish in particular in these restaurants, food vendors, is they're using oil multiple times.
Okay.
And some of the end products of that frying process could be going deep into the product you're eating. Protein foods take longer to fry, as we just talked about. They suck up more oil, and you could be sucking up more fat and more of those nasty kind of products.
So if I decide I'm going to make this stuff at home and I decide I'm going to get fresh ingredients, I'm going to use fresh oil, that can translate into a better version of that bad food?
Yeah, the idea is probably that's true. They didn't actually look at what was the cause of why specifically chicken and fish were so sort of toxic in that sense. So that's the next study that's hopefully going to happen. But definitely controlling better quality oil, changing it frequently, and controlling the way that you fry could be factors.
So let's talk about that a little bit. Pan frying versus deep frying?
Well, it's funny. When they look at studies, they did a similar study in Spain. And in the Mediterranean, they actually used more of a pan frying or even home deep frying. And those were actually still better than eating some of the foods in this fried fashion from the U.S. study. So it doesn't really have to be a specific type of frying. I think it's really about the oil and the frequency. You don't really want to have fried food every day.
Well, you do want to have fried food every day. At least I do. I just can't.
Yes, technically we don't want to.
These are tight pants, and it's as simple as that. One thing that we talked about before we came on was these air fryers that I'm seeing on television. And you see someone just use a little bit of fry, and next thing you know, you got crispy fried chicken. Is that a good alternative?
Yeah, it isn't a bad alternative at all. That's one of the methods of home frying you could use. Of course, that requires you to buy that machine, but it does use less oil, and the idea is it uses convection to kind of push in that crispiness to the food. So yeah, it could be a great option.
Maybe I should test drive that.
Yeah, test drive.
I might try to test drive an air fryer.
Yeah, do it.
Changed my life. Nisha, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it.